Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Caught me off guard. Hey, welcome back to another great episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I'm Nick, and with me as always is Anthony the Rook, TJ, who is hammered, and welcoming a new member of our group, Stat Guy Sal, the intern. Welcome to the group, kid.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey, rookie. Welcome
Sal.
to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you joining us.
Of course.
A fine episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast.
I got to start this off right away. I don't like my video intro at all.
Because you were last?
No, not at all. I just look like a douche. I mean, not that I don't always look like a douche, but I'd rather just a video be falling down the stairs or something entertaining.
You should have had him pushing his kid in front of the Christmas tree or something.
We'll have to re-edit that. We're gonna redo. We're gonna record better intros. But
yeah, you couldn't throw up the TJ's tips clip of me dropping a bomb on the golf course. Jesus,
I think we're gonna get a clip of you and me opening doors next to each other and then banging each other. Maybe working at a bottling factory.
Schlemiel.
Haas Pepper Incorporated.
We should do that. I will get us a tandem bike.
Where are you going to get a three wheel bike,
dude? You ever go down to the Jersey Shore where everybody gets in the bike car thing and they pedal around and they pay for it, and then you walk past them at a brisk pace and they're like all sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
It's amazing. It's like you paid $50 to go slow. Good for you.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it. I like it. All right,
well, Nick, start us off.
Here we go. So, unfortunately, it's been a really crappy week so far. I'm not going to get into too many personal details, but publicly, America is mourning the loss of Bob Saget, an American icon for anybody who grew up in the 90s or 80s, from Full House, which everybody knows him from, to America's Funniest Home Videos, which I just always thought was a great show as a kid. That was like America's Funniest Hits in the Nuts. And then moving on to 2000s with How I Met Your Mother. For those of you who don't know, Bob Saget was in fact the voice of the narrator who's supposed to be older Ted. That was in fact Bob Saget narrating the show. And if you knew that, there's a whole bunch of little Easter eggs in the show about Full House, to include a cameo by Dave Coulier, where they say he says he loves that guy or something like that. But it's a very sad week in that regard. It was really, for me at least, sad seeing John Stamos and Candace Cameron Bure on Twitter expressing their sorrowful feelings, obviously, because a dear friend of theirs for 30 some odd years. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. We lost Norm Macdonald at the end of 2021, and now we're starting 2022 off at a shitty pace. So, I mean, you're talking about two amazing comedians. I always find it funny when people have never heard Bob Saget's routines and you play a little for them and they kind of freak out a little bit, realizing Danny Tanner, says some awful stuff, and it's hilarious. So, I mean, his comedy career was awesome. Everybody in America knows him from Full House. I mean, the guy had a stellar career, very funny guy. And to see on Twitter just his peers, not the fact that they're expressing sorrow, because everybody expresses sorrow when somebody passes away. Even if somebody you don't like passes away, you're going to do the public announcement and ride the sorrow train. But just how much his peers loved him and how much they said he was such an amazing guy, such a sweet guy, such a giving guy. So, I mean, that's always how he came off. And to find out that that's, his celebrity wasn't, far off of his real persona as, a kind-hearted, funny, just good-natured dude. I mean, it's rough.
Yeah, I remember back the roast of Bob Saget. Like, that was just hilarious. I mean, he's when you see Bob Saget curse for like the first time when you watch all those Full House episodes, it's just incredible. And yeah, it's terrible. It's like America's dad, is growing up with him. So it's just a sad story. I mean, I just reiterate the same thing TJ would say. So I'm not gonna go too far into it, but just a sad story to see.
Sal's a younger guy. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely sad. There were two versions of Bob Saget. There was like the comedian guy, and then there was the Full House guy. So it was sad to see. I just randomly went on Twitter one day, or it was the other night, and TMZ reported Bob Saget died. I was like, that was the most random thing ever. Like I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, it's so weird. My dad was actually he called me like a week ago, and he was like, Bob Saget's doing a show in Orlando, and on the radio they're like, you have to be 21 to attend unless you have a fake ID, and then you're good. Like as part of the advertisement. And I was like, oh, that's classic Bob Saget right there, So
he just did a show the night before he died.
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he was touring a lot. He was hitting the circuit pretty hard.
Yeah.
But our condolences to his family, his extended family, the Full House cast, everybody that physically knew him, and obviously a lot of Americans are upset about it because, like you said, Sal, he's America's dad in more ways than one, right? He's America's dad, like on TV, the perfect dad that you know, but then he's also America's dad, where like he's the real dad, where he tells dirty jokes and maybe more like America's uncle, But but rest in peace, Bob Saget. America loved you. Cheers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're going into the news story that we have for us. News for us is obviously we're available on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Scoreboard Addicts. On Twitter, it's at Score Addicts Pod. Everything else, Scoreboard Addicts, if you look us up. So moving forward, we're actually going to be available on the Belly Up TV channel that's coming on Tiki Live. We'll be sharing that link on our Twitter account and Instagram and everything else. Facebook. We're going to start, I believe it doesn't start this week. It might start next week. Possibly this Saturday, actually, might be our first episode. So we'll be on at 7 p.m. until 8:30 on Saturdays. That'll be our regular Scoreboard Addicts sports podcast. And then on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m., we're going to be doing our Screen Addicts episodes, which are the where we do movie reviews of sports movies and such. So be on the lookout for that. And then as well as the radio side of it, I think I put on the wrong dates is what I'm just looking it up on our rundown. But so our dates so it's going to be Friday at 8 p.m. on the radio until 9:30 p.m. And then our Screen Addicts episodes will air on Saturday on the radio side of things. So once the radio gets up and running, we'll be sharing that. So just be aware that, if you don't catch us live anymore, or if you're not listening on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere else, podcasts are available. You can catch us on the Belly Up TV channel, TE Live, and on their radio channel. So we're excited about that. New opportunities opening up for us, and we'll be on your Roku's or your Amazon Fire Stick soon. So look out for that from us.
Yeah, look out for our next. I think our next. We're gonna run a few older episodes of Screen Addicts.
Yeah.
In case you've missed some of those, we did some good stuff. Summer Olympic stuff, baseball stuff, wrestling stuff. We did some of that. We reviewed Ready to Rumble, and a lot of old '90s baseball. And we did the Jesse Owens movie. But upcoming will be Miracle with the Winter Olympics coming up, and the USA ironically will not have pros in the Olympics this year. So we'll be reviewing Miracle sometime in the very near future. So be on the lookout for that. Great movie. If you don't love Miracle, you just flat out hate America. It's so amazing.
I'll be wearing my America sweater again.
The thing's worn out, buddy, but I love it.
All right. Well,
but moving on for that, let's. So we've got our new intern, Stat Guy Sal. And he's going to talk to us about a little Brooklyn Nets. Talk to us, Sal. Let's hear about the Nets. Yeah. So Sal, so is this something that's a fixable problem, or do the Nets have a bigger dilemma?
Yeah.
It's so corny, but it's so funny.
I think it's a fixable problem. Kyrie is back finally. He first 2 games, last week against the Pacers, 22 points, 32 minutes. This Monday again with the Blazers, 22 points, 40 minutes. So it seems like they're increasing his minutes each game. The only problem is he hurt his ankle on Monday night. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
I missed that.
It was a loose ball, and he went after it, and one of the Trailblazers kind of like slid underneath him, and his ankle got caught. So right now he's playing with a sprained ankle. So, and LaMarcus Aldridge is still out for tonight, but the big three's in there. So we'll see what happens. I hope they could win. Honestly, it's a must win for them. They have to win this game.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about the whole Kyrie thing? We know they're just giving away. They gave away games early in the season because of the whole COVID thing, which is just asinine to begin with. I was amazed that there wasn't enough pushback on New York City and the NBA, how you can have people come into your stadium, your arena, and not be vaccinated. But since you're an away team player, it's okay. But since you are home based in New York, you are not allowed to play your home games if you're not vaccinated. And I think, I mean, I'm happy to see the NCAA trended in the more normalcy range of saying, hey, guess what? If you already had COVID, you're technically fully vaxxed. Because guess what? Even though, I mean, listen, I don't want to get political, but nobody wanted to touch the fact that, natural immunity exists, whatever. They wanted you to get, vaccinated, whatever agenda they had, it is what it is. But you have major doctors and stuff coming out and saying, if you had COVID, it's just as good, if not better, than getting the vaccine because your body now has a natural way of fighting it. And the Nets are sitting there wasting money and wasting talent and not winning games or potential games that they could have won and just giving them away because of this outlandish rule that New York City has in place. And there's just no pushback for it.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Honestly, I don't understand why Kyrie can't play. Like you said, away players could play without being vaccinated. So why can't, just because Kyrie plays for the Brooklyn Nets, he can't play because he's not vaccinated?
Right. And the problem I had is not enough players stood by Kyrie. Everybody wanted to seem, especially, listen, we know the political climate in New York City. Everybody just wanted to kind of throw him out and say, yeah, well, he's an asshole. Why wouldn't he get vaxxed? But it's personal choice. It was his decision, and you're not just hurting Kyrie, and they want to spin it that Kyrie's hurting his team because no. Listen, if I say, hey, Rook, you're going to hurt the podcast if you don't get a big Scoreboard Addicts tattooed across your forehead, is that fair? I mean, I can't make personal choices for you and then try to make it as if you're the problem because you don't want to do something that affects you in your own life.
Yeah, that's some nice real estate you got there, Rook. I never noticed it, but if you did put a scoreboard like right here,
it's a billboard. That's a billboard.
I'm just saying.
My question for Sal is are you upset they didn't try to do this sooner? Because now, originally when it first happened, they were like, we're not going to have them play away games, but then they changed.
I think they got forced into it because KD they're not playing well. KD's playing too many minutes. Harden gets hurt a lot. He was just on Monday he didn't play because he hurt his knee, so they kind of needed Kyrie. And the only thing is, every away game is a must win because they have Kyrie and they won't have him for home games, so they have to win away games. It's like a must win every away game because you have Kyrie and you have the big three in there.
It was nice to see that he stayed in shape. I mean, so
I think he trained a lot.
But I mean, that doesn't seem like a guy that's selfish and trying to go out of his way and hurt his team. I mean,
no.
The New York media painted him as, vilified him essentially, and just don't look at the problem. I mean, what's next? Hey, if you don't, get your left pinky removed, then you can't play basketball anymore and you're hurting the team.
Regard of TJ talking about the New York media, I've got one word to describe the New York media:
pajamas.
100%. Pajamas, flat out pajamas. Pajamas means they're losers, people. All right, losers wear pajamas.
So, Sal, do the Nets cover the -1.5 or no? They currently.
I think so.
You're going to stay positive they win this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Nets.
You don't sound too confident.
No, I'm not too confident. They lost 5 out of 7, and they just lost to Portland. And the
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls are
I
really
think I
good.
just saw him get a wrinkle just thinking about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
His
He's
young
actually
face.
aged since
He's
Oh,
aged
just
in
wait,
front of us.
wait till Yankee season. They drive me crazy.
If
Well,
there
he
is a
wanna-
still likes the Yankees.
You want
so,
to
I
hear
mean,
me? You want to hear me rant? Wait till the Yankees start. This lockout better end. By the way.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
See,
think
I mean,
it's
you know what?
different.
Now that we're on the lockout, real quick, Sal, what's your take on it? Because me personally, if you
Ugh.
miss one game, I hope the whole season goes in the shitter. I really do. I really do, because I just don't care about the self-centeredness. MLB players make far too much money to begin with. I feel like the MLB as an organization is a fucking sham. I think both
You
sides
know,
are a joke.
Honestly, I'm not on any side. I'm not on the
No.
player side. I'm not on the league side.
Yeah, tough.
But Manfred, I'm sorry, Manfred is just.
He's got to
horrible.
go.
Oh, I thought Bud Selig was bad. This guy is.
I know.
Oh,
You're absolutely right, but you know what? Coming from the original lockout in '95 that we all saw and how baseball suffered, it seems like both sides are willing to risk that and roll the dice with it again. And me sitting here as a fan, you know what? You miss one game, I hope the whole damn thing gets locked out. Lose hundreds of millions of dollars each. Enjoy yourselves. I really don't care. I hope MLB takes another big dip, because guess what? You won't have the steroid guys to fall back on this time.
yeah. I wish I could say the same, but I'm a baseball fanatic, so I need my baseball. I need
Listen,
it.
I will.
I need it.
I get to watch my son play t-ball, so that's all the
Oh, there you
excitement
go.
I need. You know, the
That
left fielder's eating grass, the right fielder doesn't have a shoe on, and somebody just beaned the guy in the third row, kind of Chuck Knobloch style.
It's driving me crazy that there's no off-season moves, like nothing, other than signing coaches. That's it.
That's not true. What's today? Hold on the 15th, the Yankees will sign Roderick Arias, the number one international free agent.
Right. True. I'm waiting
Well,
for Matt
he is
Olson.
number 60 on the MLB Top 100.
Well, I
I'm waiting for
hate to
them-
wrap things up here, but Sal, so we're gonna say goodbye to you for a little bit. So Sal's gonna
Okay.
stick around with us. He's gonna be our stat guy. Anytime we have any issues, he'll be popping in and out to correct us when we make a mistake. So
Yeah,
Sal,
I'm here.
we'll see you in a little bit. All right. We appreciate
Clap
you going
it up
over
for
the
Sal's,
No
Sal's
problem.
first segment.
Yeah, good
Thank you.
job.
Thank you.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
All right, later.
Thank you.
All
Our
right, boy.
correspondent on the streets, Stat Guy Sal.
I don't know like how
Solid-
young and
solid-
handsome he is. I'm offended by it.
I honestly, I had smooth skin like that at one point.
We're gonna cut back to Sal at some point, and there's gonna be like 4 chicks on it. Be like, oh, guys, I'm a little busy right now.
We got home chicks at home though. All right,
Night
well,
nurses from Jersey and Sal.
So, moving forward, we're talking about end of the NFL season, NFL playoffs. What do you guys got for me, Rook? What do you got? NFL playoffs. Let's see the bracket. Show me the bracket.
Yeah, give me. Let me pull up the bracket here. So we got some good games. We got 14 teams in the playoffs.
Great
the buys
games.
go to the Titans and to the Packers. So it's exciting times. I love the NFL playoffs. So, I love the NFL season altogether. So, but here we go. Here's the playoff bracket here. Let me just get rid of our banner here. Hide that. These are the games that are going on right now. This week. So we have Chiefs Steelers. Steelers are lucky to be in after that crazy Sunday night game between the Raiders and the Chargers, where it almost ended in a tie. I think the Raiders were actually playing for a tie, but the Chargers called that timeout, and the Raiders were like, you know what? Fuck it, we're gonna win. We're gonna go for the win and kick your ass out of the playoffs. Then
Rex Ryan destroyed the Chargers head coach for that.
Yeah, he should, rightfully so. I agree. Then we got Bills, Patriots, Bengals, Raiders. We got Bucks, Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, and then Rams, Cardinals. Rams, Cardinals is going to be, I think that's like the game of this weekend, only because, those are two rivals, NFC West. They competed for first place the entire time, and now they're facing off in the wild card round. So that should be exciting. That's my game to watch this week is the Rams, Cardinals. And if I have a second game to watch, it's gonna be Bengals Raiders, only because two teams trying to prove themselves still. I think with Kevin Stefanski and Joe Burrow, and then Cincinnati, and then you have the Raiders, who have had such a crazy year with all the Henry Ruggs, the John Gruden stuff, and here they are in the playoffs. So should be good. I actually like the Raiders in that game. I think they're getting the points in that one. They're going to be underdogs there. So
can I see that? Can I see that?
Yeah, I'll put that up. No problem.
I'm trying to figure out where Kevin Stefanski fits in here.
Isn't he? He's the Bengals head coach.
He is not the Bengals head coach. He's the Browns head coach, brother.
Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Zach Taylor. What did
Zach
I say?
Taylor is the Bengals head coach.
Yeah,
Stefanski's a fun name
you call
to
yourself
say.
a Joe Burrow fan.
I totally blanked on the name. Oh, what an idiot I am.
All right, listen. Wait a second. While we have this up, I mean, quickly, why don't
Keep
we
it
run
up?
down who we? Yeah, keep it up. Why don't we see? I'll go first. Who do you guys think are coming out of each game? I mean, if I'm going just right down like left side down on the AFC side, I think Chiefs should roll right through the Steelers. I'm not impressed with Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers at all. I think the Bills and Pats game is the game I'm looking forward to the most, if I can be honest. I think you gotta. The Bills are a better team, but the Pats have a better head coach, and you know what? You don't go against Bill Belichick in the playoffs. He doesn't have Tom Brady, but the guy still has some lead in the pencil and can come up with something crazy. So I'm looking forward to that game. I still think the Bills come out on top. Bengals and Raiders for me is a toss-up because the Raiders and Bengals have those streaks of you don't know what kind of team they are. If they come out, firing on all cylinders, either team can come out with the win. I'm going to go with the Raiders on that one. And then Chiefs versus Titans, I think Chiefs make it through. Bills versus Raiders, I think Bills make it through. I think on the AFC side, you end up with the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. Going to the NFC side.
Way. You picked
absolutely. Taking the Chiefs the whole way.
That's a ways away, sir.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm taking them. Well, listen, we'll obviously have to redo this because I'm always wrong, but next week. But,
well, if you were right, you wouldn't be here.
That's true. Down in NFC side, Bucks, Eagles. I think the Bucks roll through to a win. Cowboys 49 is going to be an interesting game. I think Garoppolo is another one of those guys that could either show up or be a big letdown, but I think the Cowboys come on top on that one. Rams, Cardinals, that is going to be a great game. I don't know. My gut says go with the Cardinals, but I feel like the Rams are going to come out and pull a fast one and come away with the win. Score fast and hard and put the Cardinals on their backs. So I'm going to go with the Rams on that one. And then, you know what? Honestly, I'll save all the other games. The Packers are rolling right through to the Super Bowl. You're going to have Packers versus Chiefs.
All right. Well, Nick, what do you got? I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to pick the entire thing, but you could just.
I was just going to pick.
It's fun just because if you get them all right, you make yourself feel good.
I'm picking Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Bucks, Niners, Rams.
All right.
And the only reason I picked the Bengals is because of you, Rook, because I know you love Joe Burrow. Apparently, you've been an LSU fan all these years, and nobody ever knew it.
Not LSU fan, a Coach O fan. When Coach O went to LSU,
whatever. If I wasn't going to pick the Bengals, I'd say that the Raiders are going to go to the Super Bowl just for John Madden.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, actually. Actually, I'm a little bit different than you guys. So I do obviously believe the Chiefs. I believe the Bills. I do think the Raiders might actually upset the Bengals. I'm kind of not 100% sure there. The Bengals actually win that game, but the Raiders just seem like they're coming off high. Good game. Granted on the road, but I would definitely take the points in that game for the Raiders. I think Bucks roll over the Eagles. Niners, Cowboys is going to be interesting, but I still think the Cowboys, I think their defense is a little bit better than the Niners right now. The Rams, Cardinals, even though the Rams have that, they made all those trades to make their defense better, and they just signed Eric Weddle, who just unretired to come back. Yeah. Who is that face?
Guy's like 100 years old.
Yeah, he just came back. He unretired. He hasn't played since 2019. He came back. He's going to play safety for them. So I'm actually going to go with the Cardinals in that one.
I would hope so. He played safety when he retired. So if he played like kicker, I'd be really disappointed.
No, so I'm going to go with the Cardinals there. I think the Cardinals have a better defense, and I think they have a better they have a better team. I know both teams are kind of limping into the playoffs right now, but I'm still going to go Cardinals there. So those are my picks for the first round of the playoffs, and I'm excited for it. Playoff football.
The only thing I really loved about the ending to Sunday was Monday morning, or it might have been Tuesday. Credit to NFL memes. It's a shame the Raiders and Chargers didn't just agree to end with a tie. Then Ben Roethlisberger's career would have ended because of mutual consent. Fortunately for him, the Chargers were dropped. That was a phenomenal tweet from
Absolutely.
NFL memes.
100%. I don't like the farewell tour to Ben Roethlisberger because you know what?
Neither do I.
This guy did something way worse. I mean, going by public opinion and the facts that we have, Ben Roethlisberger is a way worse person than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson seems to be a rub and tug kind of guy, and he's getting sued right now. I mean, there's no criminal charges. They haven't been. He hasn't been arrested. Nothing like that. It's all civil suit case, which I mean, obviously, in what goes on in today's world, you lean towards people looking for a payday, so you tend not to believe them. I hate saying that because I don't know anything. But from court of public opinions, I think Ben Roethlisberger, his farewell tour, how everybody's going to push his 2 alleged sexual assaults under the rug because he's 3.
He's got more sexual assault accusations than he does Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the guy seems like an awful fucking human being. I don't care he won a Super Bowl. It doesn't, you know what I mean? He's an awful human being, and this, goodbye tour and how ESPN and the NFL Network are propping him up. And I mean, he had a shit year. Let's call it what it is. He was not impressive at all this year. They managed to eke their way into the playoffs. The Steelers were not a good team to watch this year at all. They were boring ass games. They were winning games 10-7, 10-6, 12, whatever. It was a bullshit year for them. They eked their way into the playoffs. I hope they get absolutely curb stomped.
I'm glad you said curb stomped. I thought you were going to say something else.
What did you think I was going to say?
I'm not going to say what I thought you were going to say. But considering clearly Roethlisberger, I thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say the other thing too. But good thing you didn't go there. But
wow,
yeah,
you guys are dirty.
I agree with you. I think there, if you're going to rank those teams 1 through 14, they're 14, 100%.
They backed in. They needed somebody else to lose.
Yeah,
for them to get in. They backed in.
Yeah, I mean, they could have easily been out of the playoffs. I mean, they almost lost that game to the Ravens. The Ravens could have been in. So it very easily could go the other way.
With the Ravens' backup quarterback.
Yeah, the Ravens' backup quarterback. They won that game in overtime too.
Amazing.
The Steelers. So
the Steelers are not a good team.
And the last time they faced the Chiefs was a couple weeks ago, and it was like they lost by like 30 easily.
Yeah,
it wasn't even competitive. So, yeah, I think I saw some memes going around that said the Kansas City Chiefs are holding Ben Roethlisberger's retirement party this Saturday. So,
yeah, but talk about Super Bowl picks. I'm going Packers Chiefs Super Bowl.
Packers Chiefs.
Yeah.
Well, TJ, what was yours again? Say yours.
Packers Chiefs.
Same one. Oh wow. I'm gonna have to look at this again. Let me pick.
Unless the Raiders win, and then it's Raiders, Packers, Super Bowl, John Madden. We miss you, John.
I'm gonna go. I know Nick doesn't like this, but Bills Mafia. I'm gonna say Bills. Give me Bills Cardinals.
Look, I don't have a problem with the Bills. I have a problem with their fans referring to themselves as Bills Mafia. They live in bumfuck New York. They're more likely Bills Canadians than they are Mafia. There's nothing Mafia about Buffalo. Buffalo's known for buffalo wings and fucking Cheerios. They're not fucking Mafia.
It's a nickname.
It's a stupid nickname. That would be like Canadian Mafia, eh? Like, no. Like, they're known for fucking Cheerios, buffalo wings, and illegal Canadians. That's what they're known for.
Well, I'm going to go Bills Cardinals the Super Bowl.
And piece of shit owners.
I'm going out on a limb. Mine's a little risky, but I'm still go Bills Cardinals.
So in what direction does the field goal that makes the Bills lose go?
It's going to go left this time.
Wide left. All right, wide left. Got it.
Wide left, yep. All right.
Got it. How ashy are KD's ankles? I'm watching the Nets game right now. Stat Guy Sal, can you get me a stat on how ashy KD's ankles are?
Jesus.
All right, moving on from the NFL playoffs. It's the coaching carousel segment. This week, unfortunately, Honduran Brian Flores from Brooklyn was released by the Miami Dolphins. Zimmer was let go by the Vikes. Nagy was let go by the Bears. The Bears. and Vic Fangio let go by the Broncos.
Yes.
With the Broncos, as well as John Gruden and Urban Meyer being let go by the Raiders and Jacksonville Jaguars, respectively.
And you're forgetting the
What are
big
your
one.
thoughts? Let's say that I was going to hold that for our Giants segment.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but you
Joe Judge was also fired, but we'll get to him later.
Well deserved.
What are you guys' thoughts on those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys getting fired, and who is in the discussions to replace any one of them? Go for me, TJ, because you look like you got something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the most undeserved one is the Flores firing. I mean, I think for
Hate on
the
the Brown
team
guys.
that he had, the team that he had, and the games that he put together. I mean, look at that last game of the season. You're going to tell me that guy wasn't in control of that locker room? You're going to tell me that guy didn't have a game plan going into every Sunday or Monday night football game? I think that was outlandish. I think that the Giants are out of their mind not to throw him a quick email and be like, hey, come into town. Come on. You know what? A perfect situation. Same kind of climate in the locker room. Young guys building up, trying to make your team into something that they're not and haven't been for a while. I would definitely give Flores a look. I know every time this year they want to talk about Bill Cowher. No, Bill Cowher is very comfortable calling games from a booth and being warm and not having to work his ass off for 50 weeks a year. He's
Same
very
thing with
comfortable.
Rex.
Yeah, right. Same thing with Rex Ryan. And I don't think you're getting Bill Cowher out there at all. I know they're talking about what's his name from Michigan. Help me out here.
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. And I mean, let Jim Harbaugh stay in college. I think Brian Flores is the way to go. I think he's been part of I'm nothing against Jim Harbaugh. He's been coaching in the NCAA. So you got a guy coming in that has to get his feel for the NFL again. And I think Brian Flores is primed and ready to go. I think it was a joke that Miami let him go. I think that's their loss and somebody else's gain. And I'm not a Giant hater, even though it's fun to diss on the Giants and the Giant fans. But I think if they picked him up real quick or they hire their GM, I think which would be the better thing to do, let their GM come in. If their GM decides to go with Brian Flores, I think that would be great for the Giants, great for New York. I think he's ready to go. He's ready to win.
Before we get to Rook, I just want to point out, this is my own personal opinion. I don't feel like Brian Flores is what the Giants look at as far as what they want their head coach to look like. If you hear what I'm saying, same reason that they won't draft Bryce Young to be their quarterback. They like the fact that Daniel Jones looks like a Giants quarterback.
He looks like milk toast, like Eli Manning.
Yeah. Stat Guy Sal says KD needs some lotion. So that's our discussion about the stats on KD's ankles and how ashy they are.
But you know what? Before you cut away from me, I think other than Brian Flores, I think the worst firing is the Gruden firing. I'm not saying the shit that he said or emailed or whatever was in those emails, is okay. It's not okay. But when you can be fired for something that happened 10 years ago, I think it's a joke. We all have done shitty things in our past that we learn from, hopefully, and grow from. Especially inside emails where you don't know the tone of him goofing around. Listen, a lot of people are offended by a lot of jokes today. I mean, you got comedians apologizing for taking pictures with Dave Chappelle. I get over it. Okay. I think 10 years is a little much to backtrack on a guy and fire him. I think that the Raiders were better off with Gruden. I think Gruden's a great head coach. I'm not saying we should forgive him for what he did or whatever he said, but I think drudging up something from 10 years ago is asinine because none of us here, can sit here and say we haven't made mistakes over the last 10 years. And I don't remember mistakes from 10 years ago. I can barely remember the mistakes I make on a day-to-day basis.
With regard to that, just talking about that, our president was quoted being against integration, 50 years ago when he first started in politics. He was against integration, but he's allowed to be president of the United States. So there is some form of forgiveness that goes on. It's just not for everybody, I guess. I will say for the younger people out there, Stat Guy Sal, never write anything that you think may be perceived as unprofessional in an email. I'm at work all day long. I have people that send me emails and say, "Hey, brother." My response is always rank or sir. That's it. Like, I don't ever respond to anybody, "What's up?" LOL. I don't write LOL in an email ever, because if I'm writing LOL, whatever preceded that is probably something that if they cut off the LOL can be construed as disrespectful or unprofessional. So for all you young people out there, if you're writing an email or a text message to a work coworker, 100% professional. Don't fuck with people. Don't give them an opportunity to fuck with you either. You know, if you're at work and you're using your work email and you're talking about work shit, be 100% work. If you send somebody something off color, they better be your best friend. So that's just my 2 bits on emails and John Gruden. Rook, what are your thoughts on the coaching carousel?
Well, I agree with TJ. I think Brian Flores shouldn't have been fired. Granted they started 1-7, but he got a 1-7 team to win 7 straight games, which has never been done before, to lose 7 straight and then win 7 straight. They ended up being 8-8, missing the playoffs, and then they won the last game of the year 9-8. So they were out of the playoffs, and he got a team that was playing against a Patriots team that was actually playing for something. They were playing for first place, and they won that game to become 9-8. So I mean, I agree with TJ there. He shouldn't have been fired. I know where TJ went, but when he comes back, I'll bring him back. But he shouldn't have been fired. As for Vic Fangio, I think it was time for him to go. The Broncos, they do need a quarterback. It's not really his fault. He's had, Drew Luck and Teddy Bridgewater, and he didn't really have Drew Lock. But yeah, I mean, Vic Fangio, I get they need a new voice there too, but he didn't really get a fair shake there.
Our guy Dennis is thrilled that they got rid of
he
it.
loves it. I agree. I mean, obviously, same way with me with Joe Judge. I mean, you could make the same argument for Joe Judge that he didn't get a fair shake because he didn't have a GM that brought in a good roster.
You can say that about Adam Gase, but that's a lie as well.
I'm not saying that it is, but people do go with that narrative. You understand what I mean? Like, that's a narrative people do push sometimes. The other one, I'm trying to think who was so Urban Meyer obviously was needed to go. That I think
he was trying to get fired.
He was trying to get fired. He wanted a job and he wants to go back to college. He even said it, but earlier this year he told I forget who it was. I think it was Vic Fangio or someone. I think he was playing the Broncos. He told Vic Fangio, he said every week in the NFL is like playing Alabama. Like, that's how hard it was for him to coach.
No shit.
No, I understand, but that's what he didn't realize that going into an NFL job, it was going to be hard.
I'm going to boo fucking Urban Meyer for saying stupid shit like that. No shit, it's the NFL.
Yeah,
Urban Meyer's a clown.
And it's that was another one. And then I think the rest of them were pretty earned.
Do you think Matt Nagy got fired because he couldn't work with Justin Fields?
I just think he wasn't really. I think he might have lost the locker room. I don't think he was that competent at this point. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I see Nick Foles go in there, beat the Seahawks.
They did. No, they did.
I see Andy Dalton go in there. He's winning games, but Justin Fields just couldn't get it. It was the first time that the Bears had drafted a quarterback that high.
Yeah,
in a long time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
their diamond is looking like coal with their coach.
Yeah, I think with Mitchell Trubisky, he went to he went there and he went to 2 playoffs, with Matt Nagy. I mean, and Mitchell Trubisky is not that great of a quarterback either. So, I mean, for this, I think the same thing as you could say, but I think I agree with you sort of that might be Justin Fields and him probably didn't get along too well. And they're thinking to themselves, well, we just drafted this quarterback. We need it to work out. Let's bring someone who probably works better with them. But they got their. The thing is with these guys compared to what I'm going to go into with the Giants is that these guys were actually getting their guys to play for them, as compared to Joe Judge, where it was lifeless.
So let's roll into the Giants. Go.
Okay. So
Giants.
basically,
Ready, set, Giants.
So basically, what happened was obviously after Sunday, Giants another embarrassing loss. They only scored 1 touchdown, 7 points.
Is that their first touchdown in what? 4 games?
So the last time they scored a touchdown, I think they won. I think they scored 10 in week 15, I believe, and then they scored 21 points against the Chargers in week 14, I believe, or 13.
But the touchdown that they scored on Sunday was their first touchdown in 7 quarters or something like that? 8
Something
quarters?
like that. Yeah, it was embarrassing. Whatever it was embarrassing. So after that game, everyone knew Gettleman was going to be retired, but he's basically being fired. I don't think Gettleman, I think he got off easy. I think with him, it was he's not a, when Tom Coughlin got fired, they gave him that retirement, which was appreciated for someone who actually brought 2 Super Bowls to the New York Giants. He was a winning coach in the New York Giants. He deserved to get that retirement to gracefully go off into the end instead of getting, fired. Gettleman did not. Giants fans deserve the satisfaction of hearing Gettleman be fired.
How do you feel about the fact that Jerry Reese, who was also part of those 2 Super Bowl winning teams, not getting that courtesy? He got fired in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
And that's Gettleman.
100%. I agree 100%. That shouldn't happen either. It should be across the board. The fact that Gettleman got that, courtesy is absolutely ridiculous. But moving on from there, it was a report early on from Josina Anderson saying that Joe Judge is going to remain the coach. And I think on Monday, everyone was just like, are you kidding me? You're going to bring in a GM who's going to have to take over this coach who it looks like the locker room is lost. I mean, they did not play for him at all. Brian Flores was 1-7, and he got his team to a winning record. And Joe Judge is going to stay. He's not going to be fired. And I think that was mind-boggling for a lot of Giants fans, and they were very upset about it. So everyone on Twitter was losing their minds about it. Then from there, there was also reports that came out that Joe Judge apparently wanted to be a part of the search for the GM, which to me is like, no, you're lucky you're still in the building right now. You're lucky you got a second shot. All right. So maybe just sit back in the corner and keep quiet before we start bringing attention to you and we get you out of this building. That's how I saw it when I heard it, when I heard that report.
That's one of those things where he's trying to keep his job.
Well, yeah, but why would yeah, exactly. He shouldn't be involved in that. As soon as I heard that, I was like, this isn't going to last long. He's going to have to be fired soon. And then the reports came out, Adam Schefter, Josina Anderson, Ian Rappaport. They all reported that he was being fired, and rightfully so. And then today we had the odd press conference from John Mara, who I don't even understand how he did this, but he did a Zoom press conference, but wouldn't allow it to be on any media outlets. Like it wasn't on SNY, it wasn't on MSG, it wasn't allowed to be on WFM, which is the flagship station of the New York Giants. It was meant to be a Zoom with him and the press. And he told the press, if you're going to ask a question, it's going to be one question only. And I think the press conference only lasted like 17 to 18 minutes long. Like it wasn't that long of a press conference or something that had just happened. It's pretty big. You're getting rid of your GM and you get rid of the coach. And you're going to give each media member one question, no follow-ups, and you're going to talk for 17 minutes. And in that conversation, his press conference was one of the things that I think might have been the ending for Joe Judge and how bad this really is that John Mara even said it himself. He thought rock bottom came during this season, and then the next week just got worse. And then it got worse again. I mean, the 3rd and 9 on your own 4 with a QB sneak, I think that's the nail in the coffin that was the nail in the coffin for Joe Judge. You cannot do a QB sneak from your own 4 and then afterwards in the press conference say, well, we needed more space to punt the ball.
Like so you weren't even trying is the answer.
Exactly. You were not trying on 3rd down to attempt to get those 9 yards. And to me, that's like a sign of a quitter. I do not want a coach. I wouldn't want to play for a coach that is quitting on 3rd down when you have an extra down. And granted, you're probably not going to get it because the Giants are terrible, but you at least try, goddammit. And then for a coach like that, I think Jay Glazer reported a couple of weeks ago that he lost the locker room. They said coaches were walking on eggshells around him. The players were unhappy. They didn't believe in the system. Once that comes out and ownership knows about that, you need to make this move. And the Maras finally got something right, and they fired Joe Judge. I just hope that in the GM search and the coach search, it goes just as well. I think with GMs, don't ask about the GMs. I don't really know a lot about all of them. You talk about coaches and stuff like that. I believe, and I think Jim Harbaugh is a good candidate. I like Brian Flores. I'm with TJ that email should have been gone out already to bring him in, but I think they're going to do it right this time. They're going to go through the GM, pick the GM first, get a coach, and then move on from there.
So, Jim Harbaugh is a douche, and I don't think he's an asshole. He's a piece of shit human being. He really is. He's the kind of guy that coaches in college, and he's like, goes to people's houses and promises their parents that he'll take care of them and make sure that they stay out of trouble. And then he quits before the season starts to go get a new job. And to me, that's not a dishonorable human being. And I have very little regard for Jim Harbaugh. I think he did it at Stanford, where he recruited guys and was like, I'll be here to, for your kid. No, I'm not going to the NFL. And then he dipped and went to the NFL. I just don't think he has any honor or integrity. And he's a bad piece of shit kind of guy.
And Nick has a good track record with being pretty good judge of character. I mean, right at the get-go, Nick was all over Joe Judge and how much of a piece of shit he was. So
he did. He was. Yeah. I give him the benefit of the doubt because I didn't want to see the Giants go through their third head coach.
Yeah, but you know what? At a certain point, you have to admit it's the organization itself. It's the fact that they always look to hire from within. They always try to bring a friend of a friend or a family member or something like that in, and you're doing it wrong. And essentially, the Giants are the laughingstock of New York at this point, and they really need to reorganize and rethink how they're going forward, how they're going to run their organization, because they're a laughingstock. And it's like the old adage, at first you don't succeed, you know what, try again until you fucking lose every goddamn game. And when are you going to wake up and realize that your organization as a whole is failing on all cylinders? You're coming out with nothing, and you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I understand you don't want to keep going through, the trials and tribulations, and you have people out there in the sports media saying, to not let Joe Judge have these growing pains and build from it is no. Have you been watching? You can't. It's not like the guy lost because the team sucked, or he lost because the game plan he came up with at the beginning of the season didn't work. He lost because he just is a loser. I mean, he's a born loser. He's never going to win. That's it.
You're a loser. He's a phony.
You're a phony. Listen, he's pajamas, bro. But it's pajamas. They're laughable. You know what you're getting every year now with how you're running the team. Try something else. Go outside your organization. Go with somebody like a Brian Flores that's coming like an outsider.
I like Brian Flores a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to bring this up as well, I mean, the Giants have been inept for the last 5 seasons. And like you said, they're doing the same thing over and over again, hiring from within, going to somebody's friend. And this is what it's come down to. Worst records in the NFL here. We have 22-58, tied with the Jets. Even the Jags and the Lions are better in this span of the 5 years in the NFL. And it's an embarrassment. Sal just messaged us. He said, John Mara said that it was the most embarrassed he's ever been of the franchise in his life. So, I mean, that's what Giants are.
Sneak with regard to the sneak.
But right. With regard to the sneak,
regard to the sneak on the 9.
Right, but they should be embarrassed. They have nothing to not be embarrassed about. I mean, it's the Saquon Barkley pick. Embarrassing. You don't pick a running back there. Nobody picks a running back there.
I'll stop you right there. I don't think that the Saquon Barkley pick is embarrassing, because if he ends up being a Hall of Famer, it's not embarrassing. The problem is that he's been injured for 2 of the 4 years he's been on the team, and he's not been a Pro Bowl back. That's why it's embarrassing.
Nick, let me ask you this. It's just a quick rundown of questions, because the pick doesn't make sense. Were they a running back away from being a playoff contender?
They weren't, but I'll tell you why the pick doesn't make sense, because they didn't make the pick make sense. Because if you draft the guy to play running back, but you split him out as a wide receiver every so often, and you win games solely because of him, the pick makes sense.
Yeah, but the guy doesn't. He's a running back that doesn't run downhill as a big guy. He needs space. That's not his job.
I don't disagree with you. The concept that I'm saying, though, is of drafting a running back that high. That's not a problem. It's how you use him. If you use him the way the Steelers used Le'Veon Bell, or the way the Chargers use,
he's not Le'Veon Bell.
Tomlinson.
He's not LaDainian Tomlinson.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying is everybody shit on that pick because he was a running back, not because of who he was as a player.
Well, but you have to shit on that pick, because even a Hall of Fame running back, how long do they last in the league?
Again, but it's about how you use them.
But you're not, dude. There was no way that the Giants were going from
20 years in the league, damn near.
Right, and that's an outlier. That's a rare thing. It doesn't happen.
I'm just saying
the average length of a career for a running back is like 6 years.
I'm just saying,
and you're bringing the guy in. You're gonna let him have a year or two of shitty years to learn the NFL and learn how play calling is done, going from college to NFL. So that's 2 years. That's almost a quarter. That's a quarter of his fucking a third of his.
But
potential
that's every
career.
player, though. That's every player.
I will say this:
They weren't a running back away from winning. They weren't a running back away from being in
They
contention.
weren't.
Listen, you're never a running back away or a player away when you're drafting that high in the draft.
But the problem is also they were at that point, they were not going to look up. They were not looking for Eli's successor. They believed that at that point, Eli could still play, and that shouldn't have been the idea. It should have been looking for a successor now. And the problem also is you didn't improve your offensive line for a running back. You drafted a running back in the first round. You don't improve your line. This is not a guy.
And that's coming off of how many seasons with Flowers where they have to keep moving him back and forth because he can't get in anybody's way.
It was 2 seasons.
Eli getting lit up.
And they cut him.
Yeah.
It's a waste. But it's just the thing is Gettleman's picks never panned out. They didn't pick. He did the right thing this year where he traded back. He got the number 1 pick from the Bears, but he drafted Darius Toney.
Right. And look at the shit show that guy is.
That he was one of the team leaders in receptions, but he never scored a touchdown. He was constantly hurt the entire year. It just didn't work out again.
And the only thing you talk about is his off the field bullshit. He's Odell Beckham Jr. without the talent. Like, dude, if you're not on the stat sheet, bro, and you're not sitting there racking up touchdowns, shut the fuck up. No one cares.
That was hurtful. I felt that he's Odell Beckham Jr. without the talent.
It's a fact.
Oh my, he's just annoying.
Just to close
what the fuck he thinks.
Just to close on the Giants here, because I know we've been going a little long here in the Giants. Just that it's been an embarrassing year. I know you guys are going to say we're Jet fans. We haven't seen Super Bowl. At least you saw it too. So I'm not complaining too much.
No. You're on our level now. You're with us.
Yeah, I'm worth getting there, but I'm not completely like to the level like I'm frustrated. I've never seen a Super Bowl. I've seen it, and it was fun. But I just want a team that's competent at this point. And it's frustrating because I know with the GM, the coach pick that's coming, this is not going to be fixed in a year. This is something that's going to take some time. That means I'm not going to be seeing relevant Giant games until probably 2 years from now.
Yeah, but you know what? To segue into the Jets, because that's our next topic anyway.
Yeah,
you don't need to be in playoff contention a year out, running a new system, bringing a new GM, new coach. You just want to see improvement. And going into the Jets, Zach Wilson had a rough start, but look where he's coming from. He's come from BYU. I mean, he's coming into the NFL, and it's a learning process. There's a big learning curve there, and I think. Any Jet fan would be proud of the way the season ended up and how Wilson progressed. He got hurt there in the middle. We got that little bit of excitement out of Mike White, thinking that he was the, John Elway of the New York Jets. But that didn't pan out. That was a fun game to watch, but,
fun Jets 6 quarters.
Yeah, Jets fans were like trying to, hang his jersey in Canton, 6 quarters in.
His jersey is in Canton.
Well, why did they do that again for that week?
I can't remember. He did something, and they were like, that was the first time that's ever been done.
Right.
Stat Guy Sal, why'd they put Mike White's jersey in Canton? Let us know about that. We'll keep going.
So Sal, get back to us. But I think I love Robert Saleh. I love his fire. I mean, you look at that last game. I forget what call it was, but it was a bullshit call, and he's out on the field screaming at the ref. It was the touchdown, right?
It's a touchdown.
Yeah. So I love that fire. I like Robert Saleh a lot. I think he is a great fit for this team. I think he's a great fit for New York. I like his press conferences because instead of having Joe Judge fucking the other team in New York, because the Bills don't count, they're Canada, the other team in New York, where Joe Judge is dancing around questions and saying, well, at least I don't see golf clubs in front of people's fucking lockers. It's like, what does that have to do with anything, dude? You're not seeing anything in front of their lockers because they don't want to be around you. You suck. But I think Robert Saleh has a good grip on the locker room. I think everybody in that locker room respects him. He has a good group of young guys. They're building from the ground up. I like the direction of the Jets a lot. I like Zach Wilson a lot. I'm sitting here confident knowing that going forward, he's our quarterback and we can build around him. There's a tremendous upside for this team, and I'm actually really excited being a Jet fan right now. So, Nick, what do you think?
I'm getting emotional because I've never seen him this happy. I really like. I haven't seen fire like Robert Saleh since Rex Ryan.
Yeah,
and those were good days. There's a lot of fans out there that like to shit on Rex these days. I don't understand why. Rex has been the most successful head coach for the New York Jets in the last 50 some odd years. And I love Rex, and I will always love Rex. Did he end up leaving bad? Yeah. I mean, no coach gets fired because they're doing great, right? Like, you might retire, but no coach gets fired because they're winning games. That's just a fact. Sal says they honored Mike White in Canton because his 37 completions were the most by any quarterback in his first start. Just that's why his jersey's in Canton.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you,
to Mike White. Good job, Mike White.
Wow.
Wow. That's got to be a soundbite, by the way. I do feel like one of the bigger things for me with the Jets team is that I feel like the players actually like each other. Michael Carter, Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, they all seem to really get along. Those three rookies.
Dude,
Berrios, Michael Carter, the other Michael Carter, defensive Michael. I don't want to call him the other. Defensive Michael Carter. Bryce Hall, although he's not a rookie, he's there. He's in the mix. Brennan Eccles. I think those guys are proud of their the defensive back core with the three of them. We need safeties. Yes. We need linebackers. Yes. Our defensive line needs some reinforcements. Absolutely. Because our depth there is trash. Our offensive line. Here was my big comparison between the Giants and the Jets. Both teams were plagued by injuries, right? And a lot of Giants fans will defend Joe Judge by saying he had a dearth of talent in his organization because a lot of their players were injured throughout the year. The Jets and the Giants were among the top 4 teams of injuries this year. It's got to be the stadium. I've been saying it for weeks. The stadium's cursed or something like that, or something wrong with the field. It can't be that the Jets, the Giants are always getting injured there. And then last year, if I remember right, the 49ers were like, they need to look at that field because our whole team tore their ACL in one game. It was crazy. Like 3 guys tore their ACL playing at MetLife in one game. Stat Guy Sal says it's Jimmy Hoffa. Sal, I don't know if you know this, but that was before.
That was the Meadowlands.
That was a different stadium.
Yeah.
There's a different stadium, but
but his body should technically still be there. But dude, Nick, actually, you would have
the same grounds.
You would have the same insight on that field because technically, I believe the Giants paid for the Curtis High School football field, and it was built by the same company that laid down the field in MetLife.
Really?
I believe so.
I saw somebody tear their ACL at Curtis's field like the first season we played there.
There we go.
But point being is that if you watch the Jets season, you talk about, the Giants had Jake Fromm and they had Mike Glennon playing quarterback. The Jets had Mike White playing quarterback, and they won a game against the Bengals, who are in the playoffs with Mike White as their quarterback.
Look at the Jets wins. Look at the Jets wins. We beat the Bengals and the Titans.
And one of my things, I was telling somebody, I said, but the Jets lost about 4 games by a touchdown or less.
Yeah.
With no wide receivers, with no running backs, with no quarterback at some points, we stayed competitive. Even this last week, people look at the Jets offense total. It was like 30-something yards passing total because of so many sacks. And yet they were in the game in the fourth quarter.
Almost beat the defending Super Bowl champions. And you know what? That I think is a big tip of the cap to Robert Saleh. The guy's coming up with a game plan and using what he has to win. And that's why I don't think you cannot let a coach sit there and lean back and just use the excuse of, look at all the injuries I have. That's fine. You want to, the reason why you didn't go into the playoffs because of the injuries, and that doesn't mean you absolutely get embarrassed week to week.
Roll over.
Yeah, you just don't bend over and take it.
Sal, who was the Jets coach that when Saleh was on COVID he won that game the other day? Because maybe somebody needs to talk to him about being a head coach somewhere. It was his first time he was ever a head coach. He stepped in for Robert Saleh when he was out with COVID. The Jets were down 22 players on the COVID list, something like that, and like 11 of them were starters on either offense or defense. The almost their entire wide receiver core, and I think 2 offensive linemen were out, and they won the game.
Middleton.
Ron Middleton. Thank you, Sal. Somebody needs to call up Ron Middleton and give him an interview at the very minimum.
No, they don't. Leave him in the organization.
Yeah, you want to keep the Jets.
Come on, dude.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But I'm telling you right now.
Fire sale.
I'm telling you this right now. The Giants are going to hire Brian Daboll, and he's going to suck.
Oh, yeah.
Or they're going to hire Adam Gase because Peyton Manning recommended.
No, they're not. They're not going to do Adam Gase.
I just want to point out that Adam Gase and Joe Judge had the same record over their 2 years.
I know. Joe Judge is fired, though, so I don't care. Anyway,
both of those guys.
Before we move on from the
Jets,
Jets,
the first time, like the Jets, that they are more hopeful right now than the New York Giants?
In recent memory, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that they're more hopeful, but they have a better foundation to build off of.
I agree. They do.
We have a lot of